In 1963, a retired farmer from Hawke's Bay unearthed something he believed could rewrite the history of New Zealand, and then watched it get buried again. Paleontologist Russell Price's dig at Lake Poukawa hinted that humans had lived in New Zealand 3,000 years before Maori. Was he a visionary or another voice lost beneath the ash? Nearly a century earlier, geologist Julius Haast said much the same. At Rakaia River, he uncovered ovens, stone flakes, and Moa bones split clean by sharp tools, and argued these belonged to a race before Maori. Haast argued that Maori lore remembered countless birds and ancestors, yet said almost nothing about the Moa, and to him that suggested someone else had lived with them. He backed this by noting the rough flaked tools at Rakaia were unlike the polished implements of later Maori, hinting at a different culture entirely. Haast's 1871 conclusions were clear. An autochthonous population, a primitive people distinct from later Maori, hunted Moa to extinction long before Maori reached New Zealand. Modern dating now places Maori settlement around 1250 to 1300 AD and Moa extinction by 1450 CE, but Haast's idea that New Zealand once held a forgotten culture refused to die. Fast forward to the early 1960s. Lake Poukawa, southwest of Hastings, was drained for farmland, exposing layers of peat and two thick pumice bands from the Taupo eruptions, one about 1400 BC, another about 180 AD. Between them, Price found something astonishing. Split slabs of mātai and totara cut by tools, sharpened timber posts bored through, stone flakes of sandstone, greywacke and granite, and Moa bones marked by blades, not claws. Everything lay beneath the pumice, implying it was deposited before the 181 AD eruption over 1,800 years earlier than accepted Maori settlement.
The little bones from these guys were found underneath that ash. It signifies that there were people living there prior to that explosion, and they were the Moa Hunters.
Price's collaborator Alan Puller confirmed the stratigraphy and compared it with other ash mantle sites near Gisborne and Tauranga, concluding humans had been here at least 3,300 years. They sent samples for carbon dating in Germany, and the results seemed to agree. But then came the storm. Professional archaeologists like Jack Golson and Bruce McFadgen dismissed the finds as misinterpreted layers. The 1931 Napier earthquake, they said, had mixed the ash bands. Cut marks on Moa bones, merely Haast's eagle talons, they claimed. They claimed post holes were root channels of old trees. The very idea of pre-Maori occupation was labelled pseudoscience. Within a decade, laws banned amateur digs and the golden age of local archaeology ended. Price was ostracised, Puller demoralised. Yet privately, a few scientists, Rafter, Fleming, Vucetich, signed an unpublished statement of belief, agreeing the stratigraphy could indeed predate Maori. Price's site yielded 22,000 bird bones from extinct ducks, swans and geese now held at Te Papa. Even critics admit the Taupo ash acts as a perfect geological seal. Anything beneath it must predate the eruption. So, if the ash is 181 AD, what explains the tools and bones below it? One answer, redeposition. Ancient material washed down or disturbed. Another, humans were present earlier than we thought. New research from paleoecologist Richard Holdaway shows rats reached New Zealand nearly 2,000 years ago, long before Maori, which at least opens the door to early trans-Pacific drift voyages. For all its intrigue, mainstream archaeology has drawn its line in the ash. At sites once thought pre-Maori, like Wairoba, the story has changed. These are said to be early Maori settlements, complete with Polynesian artifacts, burials, and Moa bone tools. The so-called Moa hunter culture, once imagined as another race, is now said to be the earliest phase of Maori life, a brief period of abundance before the great birds vanished. Yet, mysteries remain. In 1983, the Journal of the Royal Society of New Zealand admitted the stratigraphy was complex, calling the evidence suggestive but unconfirmed. Haast's and Price's discoveries form part of the archaeological record, something that shouldn't be casually overlooked. And then there's the carbon dating, quietly confirming that the material beneath the ash was older than it should be. Either way, Price's story mirrors Haast's a century before, men who found evidence that didn't fit the map and watched it vanish into the archives. On the windswept shores of Poukawa, the ash still seals its secret. The story of the first footsteps is not yet finished,